To whom it may concern, God, universe, spirit, soul, nothing and everything. If you had only given us the Big Bang and not given us life, it would have been enough. If all that ever happened was that matter exploded into existence, with all the energy that would ever exist flaring out from a single dot as time unfolded from nothing, as the laws of physics themselves, an item of great beauty, were made manifest. If all that happened was the great beginning, the mere birth of all that was yet to be, the supernovas in the rainforests, the black holes in the ice cream trucks, we would have abundant cause for grateful hearts. Even though there wasn't an individual me there to see the Big Bang, and there wouldn't be for another 14 billion years, and even though I'm not convinced that there was even a you there to perform it, maybe there wasn't even a Big Bang, maybe there was just already a happening, I feel overwhelmed with gratitude for this cosmic stardust process that we get to be a part of, this beautiful burst of being. To whom it may concern, God, universe, spirit, soul, nothing and everything. If you'd only given us life and not given us consciousness, it would have been enough. If all that had ever happened was that the earth evolved into a beautiful blue-green living rock, a place where the air passes through a multitude of forms, and the forms move and grow and change in concert and conflict, a place where life leads to more life, I would have abundant cause for grateful heart. From the honeydew melon to the bullfrog, from the eukaryotic cell to the Great Barrier Reef, the life of this world is so incredibly amazing, I would say that it takes my breath away. Only I know it is exactly the opposite. To whom it may concern, God, universe, spirit, soul, nothing and everything, if you had only given us consciousness and not freed us from slavery, it would have been enough. If all that happened was that I was able to notice the wiggling of my little finger, or if I walked out the door and instead of a playground and Park Street there was a brick wall and a prison guard, still we would have abundant cause for grateful hearts. To be conscious, to notice some small piece of the world without and the world within. To be aware what an amazing gift it is to be part of the universe's noticing of itself. To think, to reflect, to be aware of the soulfulness of things. I'd be abundantly satisfied with Us Weekly and elevator music, and yet we have been given Shakespeare and Billie Holiday. To whom it may concern, God, universe, spirit, soul, nothing and everything. If you'd only freed us from slavery and not given us the Passover, it would have been enough. If all that happened was that we lived at a time and in a place where no other human being is able to force us to build pyramids we don't agree to. If we are instead free to live where we want, and marry who we wish, and befriend whom we love, and do what we feel called to do, we would have abundant cause for grateful hearts. To go to sleep at night knowing that even our challenges are our own, that we can embrace life or wrestle with life on our own terms, is a power pharaohs and kings have sought to take from us, and thankfully we possess. To whom it may concern, God, spirit, soul, you, everything and nothing, if you had only given us the Passover and not given us our morning cup of coffee, it would have been enough. If all that had happened was that we were given the opportunity to celebrate life's freedom together with others, to look at each other and say, together we can craft the future of the world together, we would have abundant cause for grateful hearts. To sit around a table, share some food, and remind one another that it is good, so good to be free people, and also to remind one another that we are not yet fully a free people, so long as there are children in garment sweatshops on the other end of the earth. Not free so long as there are children sold into slavery, some working here in our land. Not free so long as there are those trapped in cycles of abuse. Not free so long as those are trapped under the crushing limits of systemic poverty. Not free so long as young black men still don't have the freedom to be who they need to be. Not to have the opportunity to remind ourselves of the ways that we still aren't free, that we still have more to do to make this freedom real. This awareness, too, is a gift of freedom. To whom it may concern, God, universe, spirit, soul, nothing and everything, if you had only given us our morning cup of coffee and not given us the congregation, it would have been enough. If all that happened was that I woke up and tasted liquid to my lips, and I began the day receiving something that had grown in the fields through no help from me, to live in necessary communion with the earth, receiving its permission to remain alive and awake, we would have abundant cause for grateful heart. But not only do I get to live with flavor, and the rising of my body is accompanied by a swelling of gratitude in my soul. To whom it may concern, God, universe, spirit, soul, nothing and everything, if you had only given us the congregation and not given us purpose in our lives, it would have been enough. If all that happened was that we could find a community to remind us that life is worthy of our respect, that to be alive is a precious and wondrous experience, if there were a place that affirmed us as individuals as soon as we walked through the door and reminded us that we are not alone, we would have abundant cause for grateful hearts. Here we have known a place where we can be accepted, a place where diversity of people and diversity of beliefs can come together to create something beautiful. The beginning of it all, life, consciousness, freedom from slavery, the Passover appreciation, our morning cup of coffee, the congregation. And if this were it, if this were all, if tomorrow I am no more, I would that the last word on my lips be thank you. Thank you to whom is almost immaterial. Only let there be gratitude. The universe, I am sure, doesn't owe me anything. Even with all the dreams and schemes of mine that were dashed on the rocks of reality, even though I never became a professional wiffle ball player, even with all the suffering, even with the hopes that may yet never happen, even with loved ones taken away before their time, with a savage jolt of memories that greet me every day of those who are not here and should still be here. Even with the punishments that I did nothing to deserve and the regrets that I might well deserve, but I get so tired of carrying with me. Even with all of this, the universe has given me more, has not given us more, friends, so much more than we can ever possibly give back. So I suggest the universe doesn't owe me anything, perhaps doesn't owe us anything. And so that means that today, this day, is a bonus day. And that's how I'd like to live from this day forth. Today's a bonus. Today's a gift. I've already been given everything that could possibly be owed. So God, universe, spirit, soul, nothing and everything. You have given us not just everything up until this moment, you've given us everything and the possible, the future. Who knows what may happen? It is up to us, and who knows what may happen from what we do. If I were to speak in prophecy and say that one day humankind would walk on the moon, they would tell me I was stating the obvious. If I were to speak in prophecy and say that after 400 years of violence and oppression and hatred, an African-American man would be president of the United States of America, they would tell me I was stating the obvious. If I were to speak in prophecy and say that someday we'd harness the power of the sun, they'd tell me I was stating the obvious. And yet, if I were to speak in prophecy and say that one day there will be peace between the nations, one day there will be no more war, they might tell me I'm being naive. If I was to say that one day we will live in harmony as a species with the earth, that we will live in harmony with the earth, and that we will see all women and men and all people as family as sisters and brothers and family, and all animals and plants as family, and live like family, and treat one another with family, like family should live together, they'd say I'm being foolish to dream such a thing. A man on the moon, an African-American president, solar power, oh sure, but peace, justice, ecological wholeness, that's crazy talk. Well, to whom it may concern, God, universe, spirit, soul, nothing and everything. If you had only given us purpose in our lives, and not given us everything that had happened until yesterday, it would have been enough. If all that we had was the opportunity to make some small difference, if all we had been given was a tough old world that needed our healing touch, would we not have abundant cause for grateful hearts? Today is the day to tell the world that love is possible. Today is the day to reach one person and let a connection of compassion triumph over separation and hatred. Today, may we add a few drops of justice to what might one day become a mighty stream. To whom it may concern, God, universe, spirit, soul, nothing and everything. If you had given us everything that has happened up until yesterday, and not given us the hope of tomorrow, it would have been enough. And yet, we have an opportunity for more. Taken as a whole, for all its faults, to be alive is a glorious jewel, one which I know none of us will keep forever, but we are so grateful to be given. And if we are blessed enough to receive tomorrow too, let us use it to reach out to others with love, and to give of our gifts with abandon, and to recognize this world right now, today, as the precious gift that it is. Blessed be. Amen. So let us sing together, friends. This is a song in the hymnal. It's set as an old Quaker hymn, which is a nice story. It's also not true.